At the red carpet premiere of The Irishman on Netflix, Martin Scorsese unintentionally started a debate that has carried on in the mainstream for a number of weeks now. While being quizzed on the red carpet, Scorsese, who's known for making iconic films like Taxi Driver and Goodfellas, said that Marvel movies were not really cinema and were more like theme parks for people coming to a theater. In his exact words, "Honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being." That was on October 4th. Scorsese was supported in his sentiment by The Godfather director Francis Ford Coppola, who answered a question about Scorsese's statement during an event in France. On October 20th, Coppola said, "When Martin Scorsese says that the Marvel pictures are not cinema, he's right, because we expect to learn something from cinema. We expect to gain something, some enlightenment, some knowledge, some inspiration. I don't know that anyone gets anything out of seeing the same movie over and over again." Martin was kind when he said it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable, which I just say it is. Jennifer Aniston also agreed with the two notable directors during an interview with Variety released on October 10th. She said, "You're seeing what's available out there, and it's just diminishing and diminishing in terms of it's big Marvel movies or things that I'm just not asked to do or really that interested in living in a green screen." Filmmaker Ken Loach also sided with this version of the argument, saying that Marvel movies were boring. They're made as commodities like hamburgers or whatever, and it's not about communicating. In the past, many other actors and directors have agreed with the comments made by these notable celebrities. And why not? Scorsese and Coppola have seen a time in filmmaking where everything they did broke new ground in cinematic history, and they managed to make their films without massive technology or equipment. They erected their own sets, they managed to create worlds full of wonder without a green or blue screen. They are not only the gatekeepers of an older and respected order of cinema, they're also the people we love and respect for the stories they've told over the years. It's no wonder that they've got a huge number of awards and accolades to their name. And even with Jennifer Aniston as an actor, we've seen her entertain people across the globe through a sitcom that was shot in front of a live audience. We've seen her evolve through her performances and captivate audiences with her characters, whether it's in Along Came Polly or Cake. They cannot entirely be wrong about the idea that Marvel movies or superhero movies aren't the ideal representation of cinema in today's day and age. However, a number of Marvel Cinematic Universe creators have jumped to the defense of the films they've made and starred in, many of which have gone to become record-breaking box office hits. Robert Downey Jr., who played Iron Man across the Infinity Saga and was really the first one to take the big plunge with Marvel, defended the MCU by saying that Scorsese's comment made no sense and it was like saying Howard Stern was on radio. Even Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Nick Fury, said, "I mean, that's like saying Bugs Bunny ain't funny. Films are films. Everybody doesn't like his stuff either. Everybody's got an opinion, so I mean, it's okay. Ain't going to stop nobody from making movies." Jon Favreau may have taken a more diplomatic route by saying that Scorsese and Coppola had every right to express whatever opinion they held, especially since they were people he looked up to and they inspired him to become a filmmaker. Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld also took the diplomatic route out of his respect for the two creators, but made an extremely valid point with his tweet. He said, "Scorsese and Coppola are on the cinematic Mount Rushmore. They have more than earned their views on cinema, and their opinions should not surprise or ignite. They won't affect the creation of comic films or your enjoyment of them." Even Guardians of the Galaxy creator James Gunn said that just because it wasn't their cup of tea, it didn't mean that Marvel movies didn't deserve a place in the records of cinematic history. In a long, drawn and emotional Instagram post, Gunn said, "Many of our grandfathers thought all gangster movies were the same, often calling them despicable. Superheroes are simply today's gangsters, cowboys, outer space adventurers. Some superhero films are awful, some are beautiful, like westerns and gangster movies, and before that, just movies. Not everyone will be able to appreciate them. even some geniuses, and that's okay. Mark Ruffalo, who plays the Hulk, also tweeted his elegant response saying, "Back in the day, people thought rock and roll and hip-hop were music and despicable too." His sentiment was echoed by Judd Apatow, who didn't put it as politely when he compared Coppola to someone's grandpa complaining about Elvis shaking his hips. And they're not wrong either. After all, there is an entire world of entertainment that superhero films or Marvel films open up. And the stories are impactful and touching with moments of genuine human connection. They are also symbolic of the original cinematic experience of many people coming together for a shared viewing of content that seeks to unite, not divide. And in terms of the emotionality, there's no dearth of fans who haven't cried through portions of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, or found their relatability in struggles of Spider-Man Homecoming, or seen the glass ceiling broken with films like Captain Marvel. Superhero films have almost always faced the stigma of not being taken seriously as quote-unquote cinema, which means they don't have the awards or nominations to show for it either. Just the fact that it took a film like Black Panther to be the first nominated superhero film for Best Picture at the Oscars shows that there is a certain divisiveness in the works we choose to reward and those we don't. Superhero films are, however, part of pop culture and are a huge part of the popular narrative of cinema among people, even if they cater to the lowest common denominator within the audience. Superhero films are perhaps as much a part of cinema as animated films or live-action versions of The Lion King or Aladdin. Even some of the acting performances in superhero films count for much greater credit than they are given. The fact that Heath Ledger is still the only actor to win an Oscar for his portrayal of the Joker in The Dark Knight is a huge indicator. Moreover, superhero films continue to have the public's interest given that they produce thousands of jobs a year and mint millions for the studios they represent. After all, whether they're cinematic greats like Scorsese or Coppola, or younger filmmakers like James Gunn or Jon Favreau, who is to say what is cinema and what isn't? And if Marvel movies haven't managed to captivate audiences while also sharing fantastical stories of heroism and bravery, what makes them any less of a movie than any other piece made in the year? The answer may not be immediately known to us, but it's a debate that has definitely opened up the conversation on how much cinema has evolved in the last decade. Do you think Marvel movies count as cinema? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to check out all our other content too, and don't forget to subscribe.